I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I'm talking to Killer Kelly. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, and you?
I'm doing great, and I don't think people understand the backstage of how this interview happened. I've been chasing you down for it feels like eternity, and every
Yeah.
time we're about to chit chat, you're like, "Oh, I don't have anything to talk about." But now you definitely have something to talk about. Impact Wrestling. You have joined the brand once again. You were a couple of years ago. You were there for a tag team tournament, but now you're actually part of the roster. So how
Yes.
did this deal come to be?
Well, it was exactly on that day, on that same day that I wrestled, I got offered a deal.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been contracted for the past 2 years.
Wow. Wow. Breaking news. And then so for the past 2 years, why haven't you been on the brand? Why haven't you been on the shows?
Well, you have to ask the good old United States of America. It's legalities, legalities, legalities. It was a very tedious process, which Impact dealt with like wonderfully. Like they took care of everything, but it was a horrible process.
Wow. So you had terrible visa issues, obviously, then.
Yep.
Wow. It's interesting. So for 2 years, you've, I guess, been on the payroll of Impact, but yet you haven't competed. Now the vignettes are playing, but yet I think that's very interesting. The fact that you were part of them, but yet they couldn't say you were part of them. You couldn't say you were part of them
Exactly.
because it would be like, wait, why is she on the brand? But yet she's sitting at home on Twitch. I'm confused. I'm confused. So in reality, so Impact Wrestling helped you out this entire process to try to get you back into America.
Yes, yes, they were wonderful about it. Like after they offered the contract, I had to go back to Portugal, and then I was stuck in Portugal. And they did everything in their power to get me out of Portugal.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a visa process that started in Portugal and then it didn't pan out. Then I had to come to the United States and start all over again. Like it was a whole process. But finally, I can say that I'm part of Impact and I can finally work. And yeah, I'm excited.
Wow, that's a journey in itself. Being pretty much, it must have felt like you were locked inside your house because just like the pandemic, we were locked inside their houses. You were locked where you were because you couldn't come back and work here with Impact or in any of the independents, obviously. So that's got to be
Yeah.
challenging for you. So how was that like mentally dealing with this situation?
It was terrible. It was horrible. Well, at least I sought some help and I finally found out that I had severe depression, severe anxiety, and most recently, I found out that I have ADHD. So that really helped me to finally seek out some mental help.
Mm-hmm.
And but the whole waiting, the whole being locked, it was a very horrible experience. It really put me down. I was in lower than rock bottom. It was just awful, and I couldn't be, well, uh, without my husband,
Mm-hmm.
without his help, and without Impact. Like, I don't know what I would do. Like, Impact was beyond professional, beyond professional. Like, they were amazing dealing with everything.
Well, again, I'm sorry for your struggles over the past couple of years because obviously what you do for profession is a professional wrestler. So yet when you can't compete in the environment that obviously you're making the most money in to pay your bills, keep the lights on, put food on your table, that's got to be a difficult situation just to live. And then it's interesting you say that because Josh Alexander kind of had the same situation where he was with Impact, his contract didn't get extended, so his visa dropped out. He had to go back to Canada. And then once he got signed, though, he immediately was back in America working. So that's why it's shocking to me. Your situation, obviously, where you were in Portugal, is probably different from being in Canada, I'm assuming.
very, very, very different
Yeah.
because like that first process, like Portugal didn't acknowledge pro wrestling
Oh,
as a sport
wow.
or entertainment or whatever. So it was a back and forth, like a horrible back and forth of explaining stuff and the embassies being closed and now they're open and now they're closed and I don't even want to talk about it. Like it was awful.
Wow. Yeah, it's got to be crazy. So obviously, your vignettes. So I guess the timetable of when you're allowed to be in America, were those vignettes for Impact that aired recently, were those shot where you are in America, or they shot somewhere else?
Oh, in America, like I've been here in America.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been here. And they were shot like 3 weeks ago, two
Okay.
weeks ago. Yeah.
And then, so obviously, the concept is you're inside of an old motel, describing the dirty motel, and the smell is familiar to you. Who came up with this concept for your character, and what does it actually mean to you?
Well, it's a mix. Like I've been working with the whole Impact
Mhm.
production team, and basically Chrissy Hemme helped me with the whole concept by asking, by basically putting a mood board of what are my interests, how I am, etc., etc. So basically, the whole thing is very, horror-ish, uh, serial killer-ish,
Yeah.
and it's everything that I'm interested in, like, and everything that I am. Basically, I'm not faking it at all. I remember being at the tapings, recording stuff, and I was just so comfortable because I was just being myself.
Well, because it kind of reminds me of Psycho, obviously, and
Yeah.
then behind you, obviously, you have some of the horror classics. You have Mike Myers, you see Freddy Krueger, you even have an
Yeah.
Elm Street sign, which is
Yeah.
pretty funny. So obviously, you are into the horror genre. So
Yeah.
this development of your character might be, Carvis, your name is Killer Kelly. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there's gonna be some, not killing, but yet some brutality from your character because of the way you're being presented on TV. And so obviously the other ones haven't aired yet. Are all your vignettes hotel centric, or are these going to expand? Like, I'm going to see you walking down the street chasing kids at Crystal Lake.
I would love that. Uh, but I just want to say wait and see because
Ah,
they're all like they're very, I don't know, uh they're just amazing. And
so
they're very like,
you are hunting down kids at Crystal Lake. You've confirmed.
oh, I would love that. And yes. Or maybe in their dreams, who knows?
Wow. These poor children. What's wrong with you? Oh my. But so obviously now that you're with Impact, is there going to be an opportunity for you to also work like Independence, GCW, or something like that?
Yes, of
Yes.
course. I'm open to work independent.
I did.
If they don't collide with Impact, of
Right, of
course.
course. Yes, because that'd be a little difficult to be in two places at once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so obviously Impact Wrestling recently celebrated 20 years as well. And I remember 2002 watching the weekly Wednesday pay-per-views for $10 a pop. So I have been there from the beginning, from them to
Yeah.
Fox Sports Net, to them not having a TV deal, to them 3-hour pay-per-views. It's been up and down, up and down, up and down. So how excited are you to join Impact Wrestling? Because the Knockouts division, I talked to Jordan Grace about this recently, actually, the current Knockouts champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, and I was like, obviously, as a wrestler, you get criticized for everything you do. But as a bystander watching, the Knockouts division is untouchable. I don't care what show you compare it to, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, whatever is out there, the Knockouts division is outstanding. So was that one of the reasons that you were like, oh yeah, of course I want to join Impact Wrestling?
Absolutely. Like that knockout division. And even over the years, like I've never, like I don't remember the knockouts division being anything but great. I don't remember it. Like back in Portugal, when I only watched WWE growing up, I remember having some a friend of mine lent me some Impact DVDs because he was like, "Oh, you have to check this guy, AJ Styles. He's great." And I checked it, and then I was like, "Oh wow, Gil Kim is here too. So she went from WWE to here. What? And this is a whole new Gail Kim. What the hell? The beautiful people? Oh wow, I love this." And I I have to admit, I was obsessed with the beautiful people. I was obsessed. Like Gail, she's always been like in WWE. I was like, oh my god, I love Gail. Gail is amazing. She had like the whole Matrix vibe, whatever.
Yeah.
I love that. And then I saw her on Impact. I was like, oh my god, she's having like brutal matches. I love this. And then the whole character of the beautiful people, I was just obsessed with them. And yeah, so I'm pretty stoked being
That's
on the
awesome.
Knockouts division. Yeah.
It's funny. I interviewed Angelina Love, and I talked about beautiful people, obviously, because that's like the biggest. That was one of the biggest parts of Impact ever. And I was like, what did it mean when Taz would yell, "Let the pigeons fly"? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, because you got in with a seductive entrance, and then Taz would be like, "Let the pigeons fly." I was like, I don't know how a pigeon and like a butt entrance have anything to do with each other, but even she didn't know. So I love the beautiful people. Outstanding.
Yeah.
They were outstanding. Obviously, the main program that people saw you on most recently, besides Impact, was WWE.
Mhm.
And so you mentioned that the only thing you were watching before was WWE, and obviously you got to work there. So what was that experience like? Because obviously you were there, but then you kind of weren't there. It just seemed like out of left field. So what was that experience like there?
So I had a good and somewhat bad experience. But as soon as I got offered that contract, I said yes, like 100% yes, because WWE is the dream. It was my dream. It was what I grew up watching. It was like, okay, this is the thing that I want to do. But at the same time, I was just coming up as a professional wrestler. So I basically, within the year that I decided to take a chance on myself and move to Germany to train to become a professional wrestler, like do this professionally, I got offered the contract. It was like everything at the same time. Like it was like I had no time to breathe, to think, to do anything. So I felt like that came too soon to me. Because WWE was a dream. I didn't even think about anything. I just said yes, 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 yes. I never stood up for myself. I was afraid to give ideas. I was afraid of doing basically anything. Like I was walking on eggshells all the time because I was afraid of messing that up. And that whole experience being like that, and now knowing of my mental issues that I have, anxiety, depression, ADHD, all of that exhausted me mentally to the point that I wasn't enjoying my time in WWE. I didn't enjoy it at all because I was so stressed. I was so anxious all the time. I'm like, I like I had everything to have, like I could have had a blast there, but I didn't because of my brain. So that kind of sucks. It sucks that I wasn't on medication early. It sucks that I didn't know about that. So that whole experience was very exhausting for me. And but other than that, like I have nothing bad to say about WWE. It was just my brain. It was my brain because I enjoyed my I didn't have like the spotlight on me, but I enjoyed my position. Like they basically they gave me matches to make the other people shine. So that means that they have this trust on me that I can help them shine, help them achieve whatever they need to. So that was kind of an honor.
But is that all? But is that also kind of like, for instance, Dolph Ziggler, great wrestler, but yet they're always using him to get people to look better. So eventually, no one probably looks at you as the spotlight. They look at you as the person who can help someone else look good. So does that eventually hurt you?
Um, it kind of didn't, because I was still doing independence, and
Okay,
on the independence, I was like
you're
almost
dominating.
all of, yeah, yeah, exactly. And I had WXW, and WXW is like a big product, like as an indie capacity, whatever. Like their shows are always sold out, and it's like it's almost. I want to say that the production level is better than NXT UK. Like everything in WXW is very over the top and amazing. So I felt like a star there. So I didn't have that necessity of being like, oh, I really want to be a star in WWE. Like I really need it. No, I was happy with my place
Okay.
there. But then brain didn't let me enjoy anything, and I didn't have the, I don't want to say the guts, the mental capacity of saying what I wanted to do, any ideas, and actually have fun with it, which is what I'm currently doing with Impact. Like my brain is all, it's not 100% good, but it's good.
We're at
And
like an 85,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
90,
yeah.
somewhere
I'm
near
still
there.
anxious all the time. I'm still nervous, but that's because I love wrestling.
Yeah.
And but now I feel like I can show my full potential and enjoy, really, really enjoy what I'm doing and just be myself. So I'm so excited, so
That's
excited
awesome.
about it.
That's awesome. That's good. It's amazing to hear because, again, I remember just, emailing you like 4 months ago, and I was just like, hey, oh, actually, when you popped up in Impact, when they had the tag team tournament to bring
Yeah,
back the knockout tag team titles, I was like, oh, finally, Killer Kelly's back, and then suddenly you disappeared again,
yeah,
and I don't think the information was out there. I think you would randomly tweet some information about what was going on with you if you
hmm,
felt like sharing, and yet at the same time, I was like, you know, nobody wants a wrestler to go out there and wrestle for my entertainment if you're not happy. Like, why would you want to do something if it doesn't make you happy? And at the same
exactly.
time, sometimes jobs you're forced to go to work and do
Yeah,
things that you're not happy about, and
yeah,
you're suggesting maybe in NXT UK you wanted to be there, but you obviously were having mental, I guess, issues, or I wouldn't say issues, but you weren't, you needed medication. You said you needed medication. You
yeah,
got it, and that's great. You got help. And I guess
yeah,
people would probably look at that and go, "Oh well, she could have just, it's the old, it's put a band-aid on it. You're fine." It's like,
yeah.
no, your
No,
brain is a
no.
completely different thing than like breaking your arm.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was tough times, really tough times.
And you brought up NXT UK too, which I think is great because I think you're actually the first person from NXT UK I've talked to,
Oh,
and there was an idea of what NXT UK was supposed to be, and this is Twitter. This is not any news that the WWE ever reported. That
yeah,
was designed to like cripple the independence in the UK, so it wouldn't keep making money. The WWE could like plant themselves, put their flag and be like, "We're gonna make money." Was it ever discussed?
no, I don't.
Okay,
I don't even think that's true. That's one of those
that was
rumors
Twitter.
that like are born on Twitter
Yeah,
just
it's born on Twitter,
because.
definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Because like people from the UK independent scene, obviously, like a lot of people were hired, but then they could still continue to work on
Mm,
the independence. So
interesting. No one see that information really wasn't like NXT UK. Unfortunately, in the WWE's like catalog, is it used to be something I thought, and then I think it's turned into, oh, it's a show we do, like, but you
yeah,
don't promote it, you don't advertise it when you're probably putting out really amazing, like Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, obviously Pete Dunne came there, now he's Butch, like there, Gunther, who used to be Walter, like all these people, Rhea Ripley, Tony Storm, I can just keep going, Killer Kelly, the list goes on and on and on, but yet it feels like it doesn't exist. Like, did that feel like your experience when you were there, or you were told, oh, they care about this brand?
So when I was there, it was pre-pandemic, and
Yes.
I really felt they cared about the brand. Like Triple H would show up, Shawn Michaels, Bloom, like they cared about it. They wanted to make it succeed, and we were doing like a lot of venues and cool venues, and a lot of people were showing up. But then the pandemic hit, and it was kind of, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going back, uh, getting back to where they were, kinda, because the restrictions are still like a little bit like in the UK.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you can tour again. You don't know if you can't have people. One day you can, the other you can't.
Right.
So it's touch and go,
Okay.
and see if you can.
Yeah.
That's from like I know people from NXT UK, obviously.
Yeah.
And from seeing what they put out there, like you can see they're trying to manage everything around the UK health policies. Is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah, obviously. I just remember Triple H there was like a map. He did a press conference, and there was like NXT UK, NXT Japan, NXT India, NXT. It was like all over the map, these NXTs, and I'm like, that's a great idea, because obviously each area of the world has wrestling, but each style is, slightly different. So I was very excited about the idea of NXT being, all over the map, creating I guess a farm league of and then if you find someone like a gem in that group, you just bring them to Raw or SmackDown, and suddenly you're all set. And it's obviously proven with Gunther and so many people. It's Pete Dunne, Rhea Ripley, Tony Storm, those people as well. So, but again, I'm just so happy that you're back and in the world of professional wrestling, back at Impact Wrestling. I think that's a great fit. I cannot wait to see what happens with you taking on people like Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James, Tasha Steelz. It's Rosemary, one of my favorites. I cannot wait to see what happens when Killer Kelly comes out of that motel chasing children down the street with a hatchet, children running, screaming, as Rosemary's face paint melts off her face in fear of what will happen when Killer Kelly gets a hold of her. That's just me spitballing. It's just an idea.
Can't wait.
I didn't write that one down. Hold on. Did you know the words right? Yeah, I got it. Okay. But Killer Kelly, thank you so much for being here.